Do I have audio? Can you guys hear me? Oh my gosh, it is freaking cold in here, guys. I have a blanket on right now and I have hot tea because it's so cold. You guys don't know this because I have this nice little background set up here, but I work in a basement. I also live in a basement. It's all temporary. My boyfriend's parents have graciously let us stay in their house. They put a roof over our heads while we're in this transition phase in our lives. My boyfriend and I were moving to Japan, back to my home country where I haven't lived in like 10 years. But we're moving on January 13th, so his parents have been super kind enough to let us stay here, and we actually opted for the basement because it gives us a little space of our own. They offered a place upstairs in the main house, but we were like, nah, we'll take the basement, and we like it. We're super grateful, but it's freezing cold. And this isn't even part of the podcast. This is just for you Facebook, YouTube people out there. It's actually kind of cool because people on the podcast won't know this interaction is even happening. Only the people that are watching on Facebook and YouTube. So it's kind of cool. Our little before the show secret. I don't know. Anyways, let's get started. I haven't seen you guys in a while. We're gonna cut into it and start with some music. Let's go. Yeah, let me see if I can get this going and go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Project Phoenix podcast. My name is Kitsakimi, and give me 1 second because I am pulling up my show notes for the day. There we go. Whew. Oh my goodness. Today, what a day. It's been a minute since I've uploaded my first podcast episode, and I just want to thank you guys so much for your patience with the holidays and everything. It's just, you know what? No, I'm making excuses for myself. If I was to really be 100% honest, this podcast is like a passion project for me. I want to do this podcast. This is something that I'm really excited about. But I think because it's a passion project, I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself to do this podcast and to make it something that's like in my head perfect, right? But nothing when you're starting out is ever perfect. And I know this, but do you guys hear that? This is where I'm talking about where it's not perfect. My mother-in-law literally just used the bathroom upstairs and you can hear it flushing in the pipes because I'm in the basement. I don't know if you guys heard that or if I just gave that away, but I can hear the pipes. I think it's hilarious. You can hear her walking upstairs. Anyways, that's what I'm saying. I have it so in my mind, I want it to be perfect, but I know that it's not going to be in the beginning, and that's okay. I just think that I put too much pressure on myself, and I get nervous, and that's pretty much the honest truth of it. I'm really nervous. I talked a little bit about it in the introductory episode, but I don't know, sometimes I just feel like I'm not qualified to be talking or doing this kind of stuff, so, but this is me pushing forward because nothing good comes out of staying in your comfort zone. So here we are on episode 2. I wanted to start off by pointing out, because I want your feedback on this, I changed my mic setup because when I went back and I listened to the first episode, I heard peaks from the microphone with the setup that I had before. So this time, based off of my boyfriend's suggestion, I decided to actually record this on my phone. So all of this audio right now is being recorded on my phone. I did some test recordings and I didn't get any peaks, so I'm excited about that, but let me know if you guys can hear me okay. Let me know if it sounds okay, because if this sounds okay, this is probably going to be my temporary setup until I get some actual podcasting equipment. So yes. I gotta take a sip of my tea. That's some good tea. Right. Yeah, okay. I was gonna show the people on you guys, because I record this video and put it on my Facebook and YouTube as well. But I have this cup, and I have this like silicone cup thing. It's like a cup lid, and this has been a game changer for my tea game. If you guys drink coffee and you often drink it out of a mug, I found this at the Daiso, which is a Japanese dollar store. They're starting to build those here in California. But I've seen them on Amazon too. They're these silicone cup lids, and you put it on your mug, and it just keeps your tea warm, and it's amazing. I love it. Okay, that's enough rambling, so let's get started with this podcast. And today's podcast, if you've read the title, is Turning Personal Suffering into Compassion. And this is something that I've been working on myself quite often lately. As I said in the introduction episode, I have anxiety, I have panic, I have a history with depression, and I think a lot of my life has been very focused on just my suffering, just trying to figure out peace with my suffering. And this has been a huge journey for me in the last year or so. I've been reading countless books on self-development and personal growth. I used to read a lot of business and financial books, but in the last year or so, I've definitely dived more into the more personal development and self-growth, because I've realized that it's not money that I lack. I mean, I don't have a lot of that either, but it's not the money. It's more of my outlook and how I perceive life that has been... My computer's doing something weird, sorry. That has been lacking in my life. So I've been trying to grow more in that area, especially, with my panic and in my anxiety and my history with depression. I feel that is the most important part of my life that I have to focus on, especially if I want to do other things in my life. I need to grow in those areas. So, but before we start, I hope that everybody is having a fantastic day. And if you're not having a fantastic day, I hope your day gets better. And hopefully maybe this podcast may help. Who knows? I don't know, but I hope so. But this is actually kind of segues into the topic today is suffering, right? Like if you're not having a good day, which I actually, today for me did not start off as a good day. Nothing bad happened. It was just one of those, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I wasn't angry, I wasn't frustrated, I wasn't sad, I was just very melancholy. I wasn't feeling it, if for lack of a better word. I just wasn't feeling it. I didn't want to do anything. I wanted to curl up in my bed and read a book and not, worry about the world. I just wanted to kind of, I don't know, just not give a shit, really. But that wasn't the case. There were things I had to get done. I had to go to work, and so I had to get up and I had to be an adult and have responsibilities. But on my way to work, I often listen to Audible, which I love. I listen to a lot of, like I said, personal growth and self-development. And the book that I actually have been reading and finished today is a book called The Book of Joy. And it's conversations with the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu, where they discuss, their theories on joy. And the book is put together really well by a gentleman named Douglas Abrams. I hope I didn't get that wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Douglas Abrams. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment sections on Facebook and YouTube, but it's called The Book of Joy, and it has been an amazing read. I really recommend that book to anybody. But I was listening to that on my way to work, and I got to work, and I was, like I said, I wasn't feeling it. I was very melancholy. I was just, I don't know, I was just not in the mood. And like I said, I wasn't feeling it. And there was a quote by the Dalai Lama that I heard and kind of stuck out at me. It was really like, it was very poignant. Is that a word? Poignant to me in that moment. And I'm going to read you the quote. I have it in my notes here. And the Dalai Lama said in the Book of Joy, "Joy is the reward, really, of seeking to give joy to others. When you show compassion, when you show caring, when you show love to others, do things for others in a wonderful way, you have a deep joy that you can get in no other way. You can't buy it with money. You can be the richest person on earth, but if you care only about yourself, I can bet my bottom dollar you will know the happy, joy, and joyful." I probably made a typo there because that sentence doesn't make sense. But when you are caring, compassionate, more concerned about the welfare of others than about your own, wonderfully, you suddenly feel a warm glow in your heart because you have, in fact, wiped the tears from the eyes of others. So aside from that typo that I made, I thought that was a very beautiful quote. Because oftentimes when we're suffering, or when we're hurting, or when we're sad, or when we're angry, we really have a tendency to look inwards and concentrate and just focus on just how bad we feel. And a lot of what Desmond Tutu and the Dalai Lama discussed when they were talking about joy and when they were talking about suffering was that oftentimes when we're suffering, we forget that there are other people out in the world that are suffering just as much. And it's not to say that what you're going through, it's not undermining, or it's not making, your suffering any less, like, it's not making it unimportant, but it's more of letting us know, hey, you're not the only one. There are other people suffering with you, not suffering more than you, not suffering less than you, but suffering with you. And there's that collective, society, humanity out there that's suffering just as much as we are, and that we should never feel alone, and that should bring us some sort of peace. And I thought that was really awesome. And one of the other things that they said was, in order to decrease our own suffering, it's good to give compassion and to give love to others, because, and without what's the word I'm looking for? Looking for something in return. Give love and compassion to others without looking for something in return, because just the act of doing that for other people benefits us quite a bit. And so that was their theory. That was what they said in the book. So at work, I kind of did a test because, like I said, I was feeling very melancholy. I didn't want to be there. I just wanted to, be by myself and not think about other people. So I decided to do what I normally don't do, which is, in those moments, think about other people. Think about ways that I can bring joy in other people's lives. So one of the things that I decided to do, I'm a cashier at a car wash. I don't know if I mentioned that, but so as a cashier, I get customers coming in, paying for their car washes and all that kind of stuff. So, what I decided to do was I decided to compliment, or find something to compliment about, but I decided to compliment 100% of the people that walked up to my register or counter, walked up to my counter. And I didn't get to 100% of the people, but I did get close. I got probably about like 95% of the people who walked up to my cash register. Sorry, I keep drinking. It's kind of cold in here and this tea's warming me up. But so I did that, and I would find something small, whether it was their earrings, or the bag that they were carrying, or their jacket, or the frames on their glasses, or the way their beard was growing, or their eyes, or their hair. I found something in each person genuine, not just random things, but genuinely something that I appreciated about them. And, the craziest thing. So more than half the people that walked into that car wash usually comes in with just this solemn look on their face, as if they just hate their existence. And it's almost painful to watch. Sorry, my computer keeps doing something. I gotta take these AirPods out. But yeah, they so many people, and you can see it just normally when you're walking around. You see so many people with a stony look and just, I don't talk to me. Excuse me. That tea's making me gassy. At least it's a smart fart taking the elevator, right? Does anyone know where that came from? Because I've said that so many times to my friends, and I don't remember where I heard it, but they're just like, where did you hear that? And I'm like, I don't know, but it's they associate it with me, but I'm pretty sure I didn't come up with it. Anyways, I digress. So people come in stony face, they look sad, and so I decided, you know what? Compliment. Let's just try to put some smiles on these faces. And so I started complimenting the people, and I will tell you one thing. Of 95% of the people that I complimented, almost all of them. I mean, there were some people that I couldn't get through. Some people just walked out with a face, but pretty much most of them had just walked away with this like surprised but smile laugh on their face. Like they were just, they went from just this sad frowny face to just a wide smile. And all I did was just compliment something about them. And I thought that was, I don't know, I thought that was so cool. And I don't know, towards the end of my shift, because it was a 4.5-hour shift, I totally forgot why I started complimenting people in the first place. I started doing it because I wasn't feeling good myself, and I wanted to kind of take the words of the Dalai Lama and, in my own suffering, try to give joy and compassion and happiness to somebody else. And that's why I started it. But by the end of it, I totally forgot why. And then when I realized and remembered why I started doing that, I just realized how much I felt good and how much I gained in that 4.5 hours of just complimenting people without even realizing it. Like, it just became natural for me to do, and I felt so good. By the end of the shift, I was smiling. I felt like just genuine joy from just the inside, like joy that really resonated from the pit of my stomach. And it was beautiful and wonderful. There's another quote that I wish I could find. It was by Desmond Tutu. And I would look for it right now if I wasn't worried about you guys just listening to the keyboard clacking. I should have pulled that up before I even started this podcast. That is my fault, and I'm sorry. But yeah, I don't even remember what it was about. Sorry. I totally spaced there. But it is amazing how much of my suffering or just melancholiness or sadness I was able to alleviate by just turning the attention and the love and the compassion to other people. We are, whether we like to admit it or not, we are a connected society. And there would be so much less suffering. I almost don't want to use the word suffering because I feel like that's such like a cheesy religious Buddhist term, but it's true. I mean, it is suffering, whether we're depressed or sad or melancholy. Like there's a bit of turmoil and suffering in there. And it was Desmond Tutu. He said that there would be so much less suffering in the world if more people turned to compassion and love outwardly and inwardly. So love and compassion for ourselves and love and compassion for other people. To give love. And if we focused on that more, there would be so much less sadness and anger and frustration in the world. I mean, there's always going to be sadness and anger. I mean, those feelings are very legitimate, and those feelings have a place in the world, and we should never work to alienate all of those feelings, because in those moments, those sadnesses, those angers, those frustrations, if we use it correctly, it can actually benefit us a lot, and I'm going to talk about that more in like future episodes. But to be able to alleviate even just a tiny bit of just suffering and anger and frustration in ourselves and other people, I think that can be done by being more compassionate and caring. And I learned that today. I mean, it was just a 4.5 hour test, guys. I'm not saying this is some kind of scientific discovery, but I mean, I sure as hell felt good. And then, you know, the people that I complimented, just the smile and the joy on their face, guys. Man, that was a beautiful thing. For real. I'm getting like goosebumps. I don't know if it's because I'm cold or if it's from what I'm talking about. But man, I don't know. I think before I end this podcast, because I don't want to make it long, and I don't know, I pretty much said everything I wanted to say. But before I end this podcast, I would love to give you guys a little bit of homework. And in this homework, I want you guys to spread love and compassion tomorrow, or if you're listening to this on your way to work or wherever you are, if this is early in the morning and you haven't even like been out into the world yet, do this today. Take a moment to be compassionate and share your love and spread the love and see how that helps you on the inside. You don't have to do every single person you meet. You don't have to do that. That was just, you know, it was easy for me because people were literally walking out to me. I didn't have to seek anybody out. So it was easy for me to do that. But, you know, if you're going about your daily business or if you're working in an office space, make it a goal to compliment 10 people. Whatever you think is cool about them. You can just be at a, you know, bank and you see a lady from across the way and she's wearing these kick-ass shoes that you're like, whoa, that is super cool. Walk up to her and be like, ma'am, not to be a creep or anything, but those shoes are banging. And see how much she lights up. I've actually done that once, literally at a bank. It wasn't shoes, it was her dress, and I thought it was really cool. It was a really cool dress. She ended up telling me a story about how she made it, and she was just so excited because somebody complimented her on it, and it made her day. Try that. Try spreading love to 10 people today and see how that makes you feel. And if you do this exercise, come back on the YouTube page or our Facebook page, because the video for this podcast is broadcasted on both of those, either the Project Phoenix podcast YouTube page or the Project Phoenix podcast Facebook page. Unfortunately, I don't think you can leave comments for an episode on the podcast or iTunes itself. But if you do this exercise, go on one of those, YouTube or Facebook, and leave a comment and tell me how this went for you. I'm like genuinely curious about how this works out for you. So feel free to come and leave a comment below. But yeah, that was, I don't know, this episode put a smile on my face. I don't know why. I was just in a good mood. It was just a beautiful day. Started not so great, but it turned out really awesome. I'm gonna go because it is 11:30 at night and I have to get ready because I have work tomorrow. But I wanted to thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Project Phoenix podcast. If you feel like you have gotten anything out of this podcast episode, please hit that subscribe button if you're listening to this on the podcast, like iTunes podcast, or on the YouTube channel. If you're watching this on my YouTube channel or Facebook, please hit that like button on the video so that I know that you guys liked this message, so that I know that to make more in the future. And leave me a comment below. I want to get to know you guys. Like, I want to build this connection, so leave a comment below. Oh, no. Another burp's coming. Hold on. Excuse me. Oh, that was a good one. But yeah, that would mean the world to me, and I would appreciate you guys so much for it. But I also want to leave you with this message. Remember that no matter where you are in your journey in life, that there is always opportunity as long as your heart is beating. The only thing you have to do is dare to rise to that occasion. And that is a really big point to my entire podcast, is that no matter who we are and where we are in our lives, there's always opportunity as long as our heart's beating. I'm just repeating myself at this point, but you get the message, right? You guys understand what I'm trying to say. Anyways, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.